Sometimes a sharp blade is the only way to get people to come to their senses.
Or it could kill them. Well, hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today we'll be comparing the differences on who is better between Topaz and Seele. And how I will be doing it, I'll be comparing their kit leader and which one is better between their ups and downs in my opinion. Because if you have trouble deciding on who you should which one between Seele and Topaz, this could help you. Or maybe you're just skipping both of them and going for the better units anyways. And as always, I'd like to thank my Blade List friend for helping me out by making this list to helping me compare the two of them together. But with all that said, I think we should start right now.
The further you run, the bigger it gets.
Okay, for similarity, they have a lot of similarity because for one, they both in the Hunt class that specialize in single target damage. They both have amazing free-to-play option being the free Herta-based Lycon that you can get to S5, and if you manage to pull the 4-star Lycon swordplay, and especially you can get some super imposition on that, that can be an amazing option for Hunt units for sure. They both use everything in the entire kit to get to max out everything, and I mean everything out, which is actually a pain in the ass because for one, the amount of resources it is, but that is a similarity nonetheless. And lastly, the fact that they both extremely hot attractive female that you want to smash other than Topaz, depending how you feel about the IRS. But yeah, that's basically about it for the similarity. Now we're gonna move on to each character individually and talk about their strengths and weaknesses. And let's start off right now.
You guys got a lot of nerve.
Okay, for Seele upside, Seele has a lot of amazing upside because for one, being a quantum is such a valuable element to have because one, a lot of enemies and major bosses are weak to quantum, which is very valuable by default. The fact that the quantum set is legit freaking broken. The ability to bypass defense if you do like a shield break for quantum, that's insane. And pair that up if you have a silver on your team and legit you can always have a quantum weakness break on the enemies, which is nice. And also pair that to the fact if you have a Bronya on your team, Bronya, Silver, Seele, that is such an amazing team. You are demolishing endgame with that. And the only caveat to that is to get those two units, and to that I say get lucky. And another big strength Seele had the fact that since you get so much speed from ascension and talent, the fact that you can actually go attack boost and net you more damage is very valuable. But you still might want to build some speed in your sub stat for sure, which is very valuable because Seele is a carry that you need a lot of investment in, and the fact that she gets so much turns because if you get KO you can do extra turns, and pair up you go simulating units with a hunt part, you are getting a whole lot of turns, which is very nice and very fun at the same time. And one big upside of using Seele is the fact that you can actually make the mono quantum team, which is a very nice team, and brain dead team because for one, then you don't need to give a damn about weakness break and you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. You pretty much can brute force your way to the hardest content in the game through mono quantum. And that about it for Seele upside. Now let's get on to Seele downside. To get Seele max out damage, kind of conditional sometimes because for one, if you don't get a KO, you don't get her high single target damage because you don't trigger Resurgence. And once you can get Seele going with Resurgence, she is a very skill point negative character because the amount of skill points she take up for her AoE. So you need like some form of like knowledge to use Seele properly and to manage her skill point properly, or you can just kill everything in sight. It could go either way for sure. And one thing I could see happening if you don't have Silver Wolf, you can't really use Seele in everything because even though I say a lot of enemies are weak to quantum at the same time, a fair amount of enemies are not weak to quantum at the same time. But this is just a nitpick. You don't need to worry about that because you just use Seele whenever she's strong at, whenever she's good with, whenever the enemies are weak to quantum, so that's not a big deal. And the final few things are the fact that since she's a hyper carry, she only can be used as a hyper carry, she can't really use as a sub DPS or a support as a full on hyper carry. And the final thing I want to talk about is the fact that she doesn't do more damage than Baibital, Lune, and Jinglu, which inherently means Seele are trash, so and that's about it for Seele upside and downside. Now we should just move on to Topaz right now.
Then why not learn from the pros?
Okay, for Topaz upside with a big, juicy, amazing utility. Topaz can either be played as a hyper carry or a support for a unit that can do follow attacks. She makes the already broken elation path in simulated universe even more broken, the fact that even buffing up your follow attacks even more. And also pair that to the fact that it's also really hard to power creep Topaz. Because for one, what they have to do to power creep Topaz is to make the same exact character do the exact same thing that can buff up follow attack but do it even more, so it's kind of hard to do that. They have to make a carbon copy of Topaz at that point. And the one thing that they'll finally learn for once in their downline is the fact that if Topaz gets CC, frozen, or any type of status effect applied to Topaz, that can affect her movement or turn order. It doesn't affect Nami, which is really valuable, but at the same time, please Dev, do the same thing to Genuine, I'm begging you. Moving on. Topaz can be very skill point effective, which is very valuable for like hyper carry you need to use that does power attacks, which is very nice. One cool thing about Topaz is the fact that including no sub-type, you just put a level 15 speed boost that'll put Topaz to 135 speed. So if you just have a little sub-cut in speed, Topaz can easily reach the speed threshold that she needs to get extra turns, which is very valuable. And for a support that can buff a follow attack, Topaz is pretty future-proof for now. And yeah, that's about it for Topaz upside. Now let's talk about Topaz downside. Outside of simulated universe, Topaz damage is decent but nothing crazy like Seele, so kind of mid-ish. The next thing is not a lot of free-to-play cracks that you get half follow attack except for March 7, but you're really gonna use March 7 counter, don't think that's crap. And also add on to the fact that all the cracks that she can buff up aren't exactly crazy broken, because for one, the cracks that she work extremely well is Himeko, Clara, and Genuine, which kind of might be a pain because for one, you might not use a character because you might want to use the best of the best like Imbibe, Telene, Jinglu, and all those other broken characters, because the characters Topaz work the best are kind of mid. The next downside is the fact that Topaz not good in AoE. Shockers, I know, right? The hunt unit not good in AoE situation. Who could have ever think of that? Unless you're Seele. Topaz could hypothetically work for as a sub DPS for non-follow attack user, at the same time not very niche, because it's either you build she as a full-on hyper carry when you invest she with high value support, or use Topaz as a sub DPS. Don't you ever use Topaz as a sub DPS for non-follow attack user, because I'll come up to you and say, hey, stop it, get some help. Or I'll smack you. I probably might do both anyway. And for being a fire element, there's a fair amount of fire enemies that's resistant to fire, no crap, and also there are fair amounts of enemies that are not really weak to fire, because fire kind of can be a hit or miss sometimes. Like if you compare it to the amount of enemies that are weak to quantum compared to the amount of enemies that are weak to fire, kind of smaller than quantum. And the final downside to Topaz is the fact that essentially in the IPC, Topaz is basically the equivalent of a colonizer. And that's about it for Topaz downside.
Sometimes a sharp blade is the only way to get people to come to their senses.
Okay, for my final thought between who is better between Topaz and Seele, they have two very different units, but they perform very similarly because of their role as a hunt unit. But both units offer you two completely different rewards, because Seele is a hyper carry that you can use to be a DPS and can hard carry your account, and Topaz can be a hyper carry as well, but also can be a support for follow attack. But if we talking bias and who I rather have between Seele or Topaz, I would have to say Seele, because Seele feel more powerful. For now at least, because the problem with Topaz is yes, she can buff a few units very well, being Jingwon, Clara, and Himeko, but all characters aren't specifically meta. Like for now, I do not recommend pulling on Topaz. I think you should get she on a rerun, because for one, until like this very broken unit that can do follow attack that Topaz can make even more broken, I would say Topaz is just decent. I wouldn't say she would your primos. But obviously if you like Topaz and you want she and she's your waifu for some damn reason, then go for she. Don't think I said that persuade you. Because at the end of the day, this is your account, only you can control what goes on your account. But for now, I'll just keep calling Topaz mid-pass for now on. Until there's a unit that comes out that makes Topaz insanely broken to use with that new unit that can do follow attack. But with all that said, I think that's everything I want to talk about for today's video. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I do appreciate if you made it far. Let me know if you made it far, and I'll hatch your comment, because I would appreciate supporting me. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you guys think about it. You agree with me, disagree with me, let me know down below, because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna kill you. Meh. Probably might kill you with all comments anyway, because all that stuff. But anyway, final thought, I do think Seele is the better pull option for sure, until like better unit comes out that Topaz can really make better. And even though Seele is susceptible to power creep unlike Topaz, for now Seele still is a competitive and still a comfortable DPS, even though she kind of sucks because she doesn't compete with Imbibe, Telene, or Jinglu. She can still carry her account, which is still valuable, and she's a waifu at the end of the day. And even though Topaz is technically a waifu, she worked for the IPC, so deduct 2 points. But with all that said, take care, love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye.